What's up, y'all? Um, I'm here in a different, like, I guess, place. I'm trying to make this a short video, as short as possible. I, we started this group. One of my friends had an idea to have like a bunch of relationship and love type things. So we have this secret group where it's basically a bunch of my friends are coming together from pretty much around the United States. So like mostly Stockton, of course, but my friends from college. So I'm uniting these women whose personalities happen to be amazing and, you know, really opinionated and, you know, real about the situation. So in that, about situations, I should say. So with that, there's this group that we formed. My 3 minutes starts now, okay? There's this group that we formed on Facebook. It's a closed group where we talk about relationships, love, sex, kids, everything you can think of. Where we're just raw, though. There is no holding back. If people don't want to comment, they don't comment. But for the women that comment, we don't hold back, and we're just 100% authentic. So sometimes we look gross. Sometimes we look, weak. Sometimes we look strong. Sometimes we look powerful. But altogether, we're just very raw with our emotions as we express certain things and certain topics. Needless to say, we came on the topic of forgiveness, and I've had the hardest time writing a response the way that I'm trying to deliver the message. So I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video. So actually this video is for Candace. But for everyone else as well. My goodness, forgiveness, right? It's this thing that we're called to do, but I don't think anyone ever really, I couldn't say anyone, of course there's some, but I don't think people really get the concept of what forgiveness, real forgiveness, looks like. And I'm coming from a biblical perspective. So if you don't even read the Bible, or you don't even have a relationship, even, you know what I'm saying, the Quran, even from just a spiritual aspect though, if you're a Bible believer from a biblical aspect of forgiveness, this is what I'm talking about. And there's no need for me to go back and forth if you want it, if you don't have, the faith in the word, because then it's kind of like I'm going to always use the word as my defense. And then if you don't believe in the word, it's kind of pointless for you to even understand it, right? So this is really for believers in the sense of, believing that the word is true in its entirety. With that being said, a couple of things that I'm going to throw out there as in my brain, because although it's for Candace, it's also for myself. I'm in a situation right now where I can see someone not forgiving and it being to their detriment. And they're not forgiving someone whom I've had an issue with but have completely forgiven. And I don't quite understand. I think I'm rating our hurts. I think my hurt was way bigger than her hurt was. And so I have to stop doing that, because her hurt, no matter what it is her hurt. But I have this feeling like if I can forgive this person, you really don't have a choice. It's kind of like what you're tripping over is so minute that for you to hold on to it, it's pathetic to me. And that's my emotions. Am I wrong in how I feel? No. But I'm wrong in how I'm expecting her to handle the situation. So in all of this, I've come to the conclusion that, and I said this is for Candace, but this particular situation has nothing to do with her, so we're going to ignore that part, right? But in it, I'm realizing that forgiveness is recognizing that you cannot punish the person that's hurt you any more than you can play God and be God, right? So understanding that part, it's that punishment factor is the first wall of forgiveness. Recognizing that you can't punish them no matter how angry you are at them. Even if you went up to them and you beat them up or you said hurtful things, that's not punishing them. They're not going to ever get that your hurt you if you're constantly trying to get them to see how wrong they were. If you're constantly trying to bash them, if you're constantly trying to gossip about them, if you're constantly trying to keep your distance from them, that's not punishment. And you don't have that right to punish. So in it, you've got to kind of recognize, like, I can't punish you for hurting me, so I'm going to just put my hands up. Now, there's two ways this goes. This goes where I put my hands up and I back away, or I put my hands up and I surrender to myself and say that obviously something about you is so messed up that you have to hurt people. And in hurting people, you have hurt me, but you have the power to say, I don't want to be hurt anymore, and I'm not going to let that person's own issues hurt me. Because really, when people hurt us, that hurt people is real. So we say it, but do we really understand it? And do we have compassion for those who have hurt us? Do you ever feel compassion for those who have hurt you? No, you don't. Because if you had compassion, you would understand that they did that because they don't know any better. And yes, it could be something where you feel like they know better, but you got to understand they're coming from a place where they don't know what they're doing to themselves by hurting other people. They don't see that every time they slash somebody's heart, they've put 17 stabs into their own. And that's the part. It's different when you kill somebody else. It's a whole different thing when you kill yourself. You have to recognize that being the victim in a situation makes you the victim in your head, which stops you from progressing. You're always going to sit in a statue of stagnancy. I don't even know if that's a word, but I just made it up. Stagnancy, where you're stagnant and never really experience true growth. You're going to say, oh, I forgive them. But the minute that person reaches their hand out and says that they want to reform a connection or reform a relationship with you, you stop it because I'm afraid you're going to hurt me again. Get over it. You're fearing something that has yet to happen. So now you're playing God because you know the future. You know what they're going to do. I don't care if they've done it to 17 other people. In this period of time of even talking to you, you can't assume what they're going to do to you. You don't have proof of it. It's impossible. So why is it that you have a mentality where you have to have a shield up? Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's beating you and you know what I'm saying, who's knocking you. I'm talking about someone who's just stupid in the things that they do, and it's unintentional because they've never dealt with themselves before. You have to understand that as a believer, you are called to be greater than the lowest of the low in their thinking. Even in your lowest of your low, you are still to be greater. Every day is an opportunity for you to use your full potential that has been gifted to you, and actually do something where there's power and being an example for everyone else. A disciple is an example. How the hell can you call yourself a believer if you are not setting the example? I speak to myself on this. You have to be the cornerstone of what it means to be living your life in authenticity. Why can't I say that? Authenticity of your own life. You have to take control over what you can control. And real forgiveness, honey, you can take control over that. Allowing them back into your life millions of times. I don't care how many times they've hurt you. It shapes you. Don't forget. It's funny how we forget we can take the blessings from, God, and I say Yahweh. So from Yahweh, and we can receive them, and we can think that we can constantly get them. We're going to constantly get them without the work. You got to be able to handle the next level. And how will you ever be able to handle it if you're not being shaped and molded? How does he shape us and mold us? He shapes us and molds us through fire. How do you get fire? You got to be open to it. You can't be open to it if every time somebody hurts you, you set them on the back burner and they no longer exist. You never know what you could be teaching them in their forgiveness, in your forgiveness. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you forgive someone that's hurt you to your core? What are the steps to doing it? You got to pray on that. That's not good enough. I could tell you what I would do, but then you would think I was crazy, right? I would let them back in. Let them back in. What's the worst that could happen? You could hurt again? Okay, well, at some point, if you get hurt again, you have to come out of it. But in that hurt, guess who's molding and shaping you? Because it's fire. So you would consider it all joy. Consider it joy that you even have the opportunity to be hurt, to be molded, and be greater for his kingdom. So how dare you try to distance yourself and push yourself away from someone who hurt you out of their own hurt? Where is your compassion at? Are you greater than everything else? You are a mere vapor. You could be gone tomorrow. And then you got to answer. So if you die tomorrow, you got to answer for being angry and not having real biblical forgiveness. 77 times 7. How can you forgive someone 77 times 7 times, right? That many times, if you're not constantly around them? Was that just a saying? No, that was literal. I hate when people turn the word into a symbolic meaning. Oh, it could have been this. No, it's basic instructions before leaving life. So if this happens, this which is what you do. If this happens, this is what you do. You have instructions. Follow them. Stop trying to recreate your own, make it into your own, out of your own pride, out of your own low self-esteem, out of your own unavailability, out of your own lack of discipline, out of your own disobedience. Stop doing it because you're screwing yourself. I'm angry at the fact that I'm sitting in a situation where someone who doesn't even have the right to sit in the hate and the anger that they're in, again, that's my own, it's my own issue, but someone who doesn't have the right to be sitting in it is sitting in unforgiveness when I have, honestly, can say that I have completely forgiven 2 people who probably 3 people who have probably hurt me to my core, and I have every right to stay away from them worldly. But do you know, since I've allowed them into my life, I've laughed more, believe it or not. I have moments where the enemy attacks my brain and says things to me like they could do this to you, they could do this to your children, they could do whatever, but at the end of the day, in my obedience, I am blessed, which means I'm protected. The armor of Yahweh is on me. And in it being on me, I am protected. So even if you try to hurt me, he makes you my footstool. So I'm not worried about it. Take forgiveness to the next level. It's bold. It's the most bravest thing you could ever do. And it is 100% living fearless. You talk about it. But are you living it? Ooh, Ashley, I'm talking to myself. Are you living it? I challenge you. It is still early enough in this year to change the way you think. Be bigger. Be bigger than anything that you could have ever expected in your life by just living according to his word. 100% authentic living is beyond being bold. It's beyond thinking brave. It's beyond living fearless. It is beyond anything that you could have ever imagined. I can't stress it enough because, honey, I've gotten pieces of it. And the security in me as a woman, and the security in me as a wife, and the security in me as a mother has grown tremendously. Pieces of my life are coming together in ways that bring inexplicable joy. Joy. How many people can actually say that they experience joy on a consistent level? Or are you up and down, up and down? Some days you're cool, some days you're not. You have a choice. Choose to forgive and pass everything you could have ever dreamed of. Let them back in and experience teaching moments that'll be out of this world. It's a challenge. Many are called. Few are chosen, and even less than that answered. Will you answer? Be bold, think brave, live fearless.